Today I will be showing you how to avoid one of the worst things people do to themselves in FPS games. You would think that having a small mouse pad, a very heavy mouse, or really high sensitivity would be the worst ones, or having a small monitor with low refresh rate. None of them even come close to what I'm about to show you. So let's go into the most common benchmark for aiming, which is Gridshot Ultimate in Aim Labs. This is a free software, you can get it on Steam. Look what I'm doing. I'm zooming in, but I'm not holding the key. You can probably hear me in the mouse to zoom in or zoom out. It's under many names in different games. Here it's called zoom bind mode. Usually it's called something like ADS toggle or ADS hold or something like that. And you can switch between holding your right mouse button to zoom in or pressing it once to zoom in. Let's try with the toggle option first. This isn't going to be the best gameplay. You can see I'm fairly rusty at this exercise. You generally want to have at least 90% accuracy, which I might not do here. Whatever, 87. I did 100k on the first try, or second try, I guess I tried it today once. That's decent. I would say if you can do this, you are definitely among the people who this exercise doesn't make much sense anymore. At that point you want to switch to things like 6-shot, which has smaller targets. Now let's replay it and switch to that hold to ADS thing. And now witness me horribly fail this. Oh my god. Okay, let's give it a couple more tries. Think about why this does not work. I'll tell you the answer in a couple seconds. You can see with practice I can do it a little better. Yeah, this is about the result you will probably get when you try this exercise for the first time. Maybe even worse. Yeah, that's quite a lot worse. So why is it? Those of you who probably use their brain while watching this video have realized that what makes this so much harder is I have to squeeze my finger, at least in this case my middle finger, against the right mouse button while tapping the index finger, and it's significantly harder to move the mouse around while you are pressing down one of the buttons with your finger. This is completely universal. This isn't something that applies to me or only you or whoever. This is totally universal. That's simply how physics works in our bodies. Since what we are doing is we are effectively flexing our muscle in our forearm to, well, bend the middle finger. That causes us to press down the mouse button. With enough practice, and you have seen there, after a while I could get it to somewhat do it in a way where I would only very lightly press the button, but I have also a pretty expensive and high quality mouse, which makes this a lot easier than probably what you will have at home. If you haven't practiced this a lot and you haven't done much with aiming, you're just starting out with FPS games. The reason I think why so many people use this setting, even though it, at least in this benchmark, made me, I think, like 20% at least worse, is because it's the default option in several games. I have no idea why the developers do it. But even worse, I don't have an idea why people don't change this. Because people are these days fairly accustomed to changing their FOV and changing their sensitivity. But this is also a thing. This has, in my opinion, way more effect on you than your sensitivity, your FOV, or all the other nonsense, unless you put it into some massive extreme. Like, I could probably move around a 200-gram mouse on a 10 by 10 centimeter mouse pad with, I don't know, half the FOV better than I can do it with whatever I'm using right now and holding down the index finger. Also, please don't trust me. I don't want you to just look at this video and be like, oh, this guy said it's bad. But it works for me, so it's not as bad, or I don't know, some other guy said something different. No, I want you to hop onto this thing called AimLab. It's free. You can download it at any moment. Or any other benchmark like this. You can even pick any of the AimLab exercises and compare how well you do with just clicking your right mouse button once at the start of the thing and then clicking on the targets versus simply holding your right mouse button all the time while you are moving between targets. It becomes a little easier when I go to something like a tracking exercise. This becomes a lot less obvious what the difference is. I've currently at hold. Even this is harder. This is noticeably harder to do than just moving the mouse while having my muscles not contract so much. Okay, well, you don't need to watch me suffer, even though some of you might be into it. So yeah, please just test it for yourself. Don't trust anyone what they are saying in their videos. Go and test it. Okay? This stuff is readily available, and I'll even show you my settings so you can get this to look like you have. And because I have seen people wanting to see how I have this set up, so when we go here, settings, I normally just use 120 FOV here, but then you wouldn't see the difference between aiming down sights. And I just don't aim down sights at all in these benchmarks because there's no reason to do so. So, this is sensitivity, and this is what is field of view, this is sensitivity. This is the setup for the crosshair, targets. These are my in-game settings for the graphics. Obviously you want the lowest FOV. These are the settings for the view of the targets. Of course this doesn't matter. So yeah, if you want to just mimic the setup I have here, just do that. Just stop on the individual frames. So, please, also, whenever you see someone claim they are good at aiming, they are firstly almost definitely lying, and secondly, you should never even trust them, even if they provide some like clips or anything like that. And I've seen that so many times where people just look at some clips of some random YouTuber and are like, oh, this guy's so great at aiming. Don't trust that. Unless someone can do these kinds of benchmarks and show like how well they are clicking targets or tracking targets or whatever exercises, they are probably not good at aiming. I can probably, with a little bit of editing, show you clips where it looks like I have the most perfect aim in the world, where I hit seemingly the enemy at massive distances at the first shot just because I cut out the previous 20 shots. You can go into my Discord and watch some of the clips, and you can see how easily it would be to manipulate them to look like I have the greatest aim in the world. But always when you see this kind of gameplay or anything on YouTube or Twitch, Twitch is less likely, since you stream it live. But even there, people have found ways how to screw you over, where they like abuse the SBMM or ranked modes in games to get much easier opponents, which are easier to aim at. And oftentimes in games, it's more about game knowledge. That's why you see me not just destroy 99% of people in every game, because, well, I might have okay aim according to these benchmarks. I don't have the game sense in most games because I simply don't have tens of thousands of hours in them, unlike a lot of people, since I have a life. That's why also these videos are simply a one take every time. Yeah, so please, don't like this, don't share this, don't tell your friends about it, it will make it so much easier for me to kill them. And have a nice day. I hope you enjoyed me suffering, because I'm never doing this again.